Hi guys, and welcome back to Iclone 3D, where we discuss tips, tricks and tutorials for the latest animation softwares. And before I go ahead, I just want to say honestly guys, a massive thank you for 450 subscribers. The channel's growing daily and I really notice it, and it doesn't go unnoticed, and I really appreciate it. Thank you for tuning in. I'm glad you're finding the content useful, and if you've got any requests, do request them, because sometimes I run out of ideas, and sometimes I don't know what to create. But if you've got any ideas of what you want to see next, just drop a comment, and don't forget to like and turn on bell notifications and sub to the channel. So today I'm going to show you how to create houses, or you can create houses, or just to create a room, and just in a really quick and easy way. So what you're going to want to do is go over to your plugins and go into your G tools, and there's something called building blocks. Now you can get this plugin on the marketplace at Reallusion. I will leave a link down below in the description, and it's a really useful plugin for just building really quick sets, and just getting them up and running and texturing them yourself, and it's an amazing plugin. So if we just click on that, it will bring up this box here. Now you can see it can get quite confusing because there's quite a lot of things going on, but don't let it kind of worry you. It is literally very simple. So up here you've got your standard room, and then you've got the front, back, left and the right walls. They're all here, and you've got the option to add a front door, and number of floors, we'll leave it on 1. So we'll just choose the front wall to be door and a window, and we'll leave the left wall, right wall and the back wall all solid for now. And then we'll just add a front door. We'll click that, and then all you do is hit build. Now what that's going to do is, in front of you, that's going to build you that house basically really quickly, really easily. And now you've basically got your set built. Now what you want to do is you want to click on each individual panel, and you want to come over here into the materials tab, and you want to come down to the diffuse and just turn that back to white. Now this is very important for when you're going to add your textures later, because if you don't change the color, the texture will come out the same colors as the panels. So we want to just change the diffuse on each one just back to white, and then that will give us that normal color base ready for texturing. So I'll just quickly change all these back. And now we can go ahead and we can start adding some textures. And I'm going to show you a really cool trick to add textures really quickly, because as you'll know, when you put your textures on, you do then have to kind of, get them the right size with the UV settings. So I'll show you a really cool tip once you've got them the right size, how you can just put them on each of the panels around the house. So we'll leave this over here for now, because we might want to come back and have a look at that in a second. I'm just going to go here to my content tab, and then if I go into my packs, I'm going to look for my substance PBR materials. These are some really high quality materials that you can purchase from the Reallusion store. And we'll just look for some bricks, and we'll choose that one, and I'll just put those on the front of the house. Right, so now we can see our bricks there. Now we can get much higher texture qualities. I'll show you how to do that as well. We can go over here into our modify tab, and in the material section, if we just come down and scroll down a little bit, we can see here the texture, the output size is 512 by 512. So that's really low quality. What you want to do is just put that up to maybe 2K, and you can see already that changes the textures quite quickly. So now those textures are much higher quality, and what we just want to do is, because we can see if we just go quickly into our content tab and we grab an actor, we'll just grab anyone and we'll just put them up against that brick wall. We can see that the bricks are they're unusually big, in comparison to our life-size actors. So what we want to do is we want to get them bricks kind of looking realistic, and how they would look in real life. So what you do, very simply, you just want to click on that panel again and go into this material tab. So we've just put the texture up to 2K, so we've got a nice quality there. And what we'll just do is we will go into our UV settings down here, and this is basically just going to allow us to kind of resize these bricks and get them looking more lifelike. Now, very important, you always want to click affect all channels on, so you always want to turn that on. And what that basically does is gonna, whatever changes you make, it will affect the bump map, the roughness, the AO, the displacement, and the metallic maps in the same way. So it will affect all them maps in exactly the same way. So just remember to always kind of have that affect all channels turned on. And what we'll do is we'll come down here to the tiling. So we're going to want to change the tiling, both of these, and one way we can just speed up our job is we can just click lock ratio, and whatever we change that to, that will then follow along. So if we just change that to maybe a 3 and just hit enter, we'll start to see those bricks now look a lot more realistic and a lot more in proportion for the scene. So we'll leave it on about 3 for now. That looks pretty cool. And we can maybe try 4 just to see how that can look. 4 looks pretty cool too. So we'll just leave it on that for now. And that is basically our first textures done. And what we can do is we can also, you know, go down here and we can play with the self illumination just to get that kind of, you know, looking a bit more realistic and, you know, a bit more kind of well set out. And if we just keep going down, we can mess around with a few more things here. So we can mess around with the spacing of the bricks. As you can see there, that's affecting kind of how far apart each brick is. We'll just leave it around 50, which looks pretty cool. And we can also mess around with the up and down on the brick panels here, and you can just see the effect that's having. So I'll just take that down, just leave that about there. Looks pretty cool. And here we've got the option to kind of mess around with the depth of the bricks, the roughness, and just kind of, you know, offset everything a little bit to kind of get it looking not so clean as we can see here in this image. So we could just play around with a few of these, and you can start to see the effects they're having. And there's, you know, loads of different things that you can come down here, and you can, you know, the brick age, you can mess around with how kind of old the bricks look, and just start to, you know, really kind of jazz things up and mess around here. So we'll just leave it at that for now, and we'll just pretend that this is exactly how we wanted our texture to look. So now what we can do, instead of going to each different panel and kind of, you know, putting the texture back on and refiddling around with everything, what we can simply do is, if we come up here, we'll see under the material list here, what we can do is we can see we've got a picker tool and we've got a paint bucket tool. So we just want to click the picker tool, and then we want to select that brick there, and then we want to go back to the paint bucket tool. And now with this paint bucket tool, we've just selected this material, so we can effectively now paint this onto any surface. So if I just click on that, you'll see that will then begin to paint that. And now you're going to have to do that every time for each panel, because you can't unfortunately turn while you've got the paint bucket selected. So we're just going to want to go back to that, select, back to paint bucket, and then we just want to do that again for this panel here. So very quick and easy way that you can effectively, you know, get all your materials on that wall in a really quick, easy fashion. So now we've got the kind of base walls set out. What we want to do is we just want to come and add now a roof to this model. And to do that, we're just going to bring back up our building blocks. And if you happen to close that, just to remember, you go into your plugins and you go into G Tools, and it's your building blocks here. And what we're going to do now is we're going to go down to the bottom here, and we can see it says roof. And now this will just build a roof on top of this. So if we just hit build, we'll leave it as 1 by 1, and we'll just hit build. And that will then place a roof on top of our house, as you can see. again, same process. We'll go into our materials tab and we'll just change the diffuse color to white, and that will just ensure textures come through properly. And now we've got our basic roof, and again we can, you know, start to texture this up. We'll go back into our content and we'll just pull up those substance PBRs. And we could just start to add kind of, you know, a basic roof. If we just type in roof here, it should bring up some really cool textures, and this one looks pretty cool, so we'll just drag and drop, and now we can see textures are going to need to kind of be modified a little bit. And again, we can just go down here, we can play with the quality of that, put that up to 2K. That will give us a much better look, and then we'll just mess around with the UV just to get that in proportion. We'll maybe go over 4. And that starts to look now, you know, like a roof. And again, same way we did with the brick walls, we can just click our picker tool, select the material, and then we can copy that material onto the other side of the house. And for this little part in here, we can just add that concrete there. And then effectively we've got a cool looking house. I won't mess around with that texture for now. And then we've got a door here, as you can see, so we can select that door and, oops, sorry, we can select that door and we can then open it. We will need to mess around with the pivot, so if that does happen, you just simply, quick way to fix that and make the door open as if it was on hinges, is just to come down to your pivot section. Sorry, it's in this tab here, so you just want to click on this tab, and then at the bottom here you should have your pivot, and we're just going to want to select here if we want it to open on this way out, or we can select that side, but I'll leave it here for now. And you'll just see when I open that door now, that will now open like a door. So yeah, if you ever kind of get in that predicament, that's how you do that. Now, just another really cool thing that we can actually do before I end the tutorial, we can actually now come back into our building blocks and we can start to create a window for this house. So if I just hit custom window here, we'll just leave the settings as they are, and I'll just hit build. You'll see that will then begin to place a window on the building. So that's, you know, really cool way to build a really quick and easy window. Now we can you know, add textures to the door, and you know, we can take that out and add an actual door in. I won't do that now. And we can add, you know, carpet on the floor. We'll maybe just add a quick texture to the floor. Let's just see what that looks like. I'm not sure if they've got anything like carpet, but I'll try. Okay, so we've got a fabric, we've got a velvet carpet, and we've got, this one looks pretty cool. It looks like a disco ball. We'll just drop that on the floor, and then you'll see that carpet will then go onto the floor. And again, just messing around with those textures, we can get that looking much more in proportion. We'll just choose that as a 4, and you'll see that will then bring that into proportion. So that is the quick way you can build you know, some really cool houses, and you know, in no time basically. You know, I could have done that in a few seconds really, if I wasn't breaking it down in a tutorial. But literally, guys, it takes a few seconds to, you know, build these houses, and you know, you can get some really cool looks and really kind of unique buildings that you build yourself in quick time. So I hope this tutorial really helps, and hopefully see you again soon for another tutorial.